Hey, I'm Gareth from Power Cameras, and today we're going to talk about how you can create your very own preset inside of Lightroom. Now, this is really helpful, and it's actually super easy once you know how to do it. Now, this is basically going to allow you to create an edit that you like, and something maybe that you do to a lot of different photos, and then save that as a preset. So with just one click, you can apply it to as many photos as you like going forward. So every time you go on a photo shoot, you can come back, pop your presets on, and you're good to go. So I've got a photo here. We're going to dive into Lightroom, do a quick edit on this photo. I'm going to show you how to turn that into a preset. So let's dive right in. I've got this nice photo of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. We're going to go ahead and do a little edit on it now and then turn that into a preset. So I'm going to start off by probably bringing these highlights down a little bit. It was, as you can see, it was around sunset. So I wanted to expose mostly for the highlights because I didn't want to lose too much of the information in the sky. It was a really nice day. So obviously you can see the shadows are quite dark. So we're going to bump those up as well. So that's allowed me to essentially bring back some of the detail in the sky, but also just bring back some of the detail in the foreground and the kind of city and the skyline as well. Now, I'm also going to pop that contrast up, which I know it's a bit counterproductive because obviously we've just popped the highlights down, shadows up, but I love the look of doing this. I love adjusting those highlights and shadows and then using the contrast slider as well. So even though it seems a bit counterproductive, it just works. And if it works, so there's no worries. I'm also going to bring the blacks down a little bit because I don't want this to look too washed out. And I'm going to bring the clarity up a fair amount because I want to bring out the kind of detail in the structure as well. Now, dehaze I am going to bring up a little bit. I don't want to do too much because it can look a bit crazy. I'm going to pop the vibrance up quite high and just bring the saturation down as well. So we've already, just with these kind of global adjustments, made quite a lot of progress here. We're going to look at the before and after, which you can do by pressing the / key on your keyboard. So let's go ahead and look at the before. That was what it was looking like. And this is what we've got it looking like now. Now, I think that looks really nice already. We're doing quite a good job with this, I think. We're going to come down here to the HSL sliders, where we can affect the colors, the hue, saturation, and luminance. Now for orange, I'm going to bring the hue down a little bit and pop the saturation. And I'm going to do the same for the yellows as well. Greens, I don't think we've really got that much of in the picture, but I am just going to slide them towards the yellow just to be safe, because I don't want loads of green. I want to keep it kind of an orange and teal, orange and blue kind of look. So blue, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pop that saturation up and the luminance down a little bit. Saturation on the aqua, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to bring the hue over towards the blue. Now, split toning, I definitely want to do some of. I want to put some orange into those highlights because, oh, look at that sky. I really want to, oh, that's outrageous. Okay, let's put some teal into the shadows as well, just to kind of give a bit of a color contrast. Not too much, because I don't want to take away from the warm tones of this picture. But I am really liking, if I toggle that on and off, that's making a nice bit of difference in the sky there. So let's come down to lens corrections. Now I'm going to click enable profile corrections. That's going to read the metadata of the picture, determine what lens I was using, and then correct for any vignetting and distortion and things like that. So we can see here I was shooting with the Sony 24-70 f2.8 G Master lens. Whew, what a lens. And it's just correcting for any distortion and vignetting. So I'm actually going to pop a little bit of the vignette back on there because I quite liked that. And the other big adjustment that we're going to make for this photo is here in the transform tab. So you can see, because of where I was when I took the picture, I was having to angle the camera up a little bit, which is giving a slightly warped perspective on the building. So they look a little bit like they're leaning. So we can correct that in Lightroom. That's no problem at all. We're actually going to come over here. I'm going to click auto and essentially allow Lightroom to work it out. And it's actually done a really good job there. So we've lost a little bit of the bottom part of the picture because it's correcting that perspective. But to be honest, if I toggle that on and off, that's made such a huge difference. Everything is nice and upright now. Yeah, it looks like a million times better. So I'm really happy with that. And the last thing I'm going to do is down here on this calibration tab at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit of an orange and teal color grade to this. Now, nothing too over the top, as you see this everywhere. It's on Instagram. It's a little played out, to be honest. But I personally like the look of this. I like the orange and teal kind of color grading. I know it's used a lot, but we're gonna apply it here. I think it'll work, and we're not gonna go overboard. I think that's the key. We're not gonna go too far with it. So I'm going to bring the red primary towards the orange end of things. I'm going to bring the blue primary towards the teal end of things. Now that's just going to, I may have done that too much. Well, let's have a look. So this is the before. Remember, you can do this with the backslash key. And after, and if I press Y, I can get a nice side by side. Now, some people might think that's too vibrant. It is pretty vibrant, but I like it. Sunset, it was very, very warm tones when I was actually there. So I think I'm happy with that. I think I am going to leave it like that. So, and certainly for the purposes of this video, that will turn into a preset, and we can always make tweaks once we apply presets to other photos and things like that. Now, if I was editing the photo fully, I'd probably go in with some adjustment brush, some gradient, filters, and various things like that. But for the purposes of the preset, we're going to leave it like this. So once you've got your edit on your photo, how you want it, you're going to come across to the left-hand side of Lightroom where you've got these different menus. You've got presets, snapshots, history, collections. And on the presets tab here, we're going to mouse over to the right-hand side where there's this plus. We're going to click Add New Presets. And that opens a drop-down menu. We're going to click Create Preset. Now that allows us to name our preset and decide what's going to be included with it. So I'm going to name this Sunset City. And then we get to choose what's going to be included in the preset. So we've got things we can tick on and off. Now, I generally like to leave white balance unticked. And the reason for that is that every photo is different. Every photo is going to have probably slightly different white balance, and you're not necessarily going to want to, you're probably going to have similar white balance at sunset, I would imagine, but they're not always going to be the same, and I don't want to force a particular white balance onto any of my photos. So I leave that unticked, because that way it's going to leave the white balance, when I apply this preset to another photo, it'll leave the white balance as whatever the white balance was when I shot it, and I can adjust it myself if I want to, but I'm not going to force a white balance based on the preset. So I leave that unticked. Otherwise, all the basic tone, the kind of global adjustments, things like clarity, dehaze, the color, the split toning, that's all ticked on because that is part of the look that I'm trying to save here as a preset. Things like graduated filters, radial filters, which you can access up here when you're editing. Those ones I'm not going to have turned on because they tend to be very much a localized adjustment, so they are very specific to that photo. So I tend to do that separately from a preset. And then otherwise, lens corrections I'm going to leave on because it's generally good practice. It's a good idea to use that lens correction in Lightroom to get rid of distortion and vignetting. Transform, I'm going to leave unticked because a lot of the time I don't need to use that, or I might want to use it differently. And again, it's similar to the white balance. I don't want to force it onto the picture if it doesn't need it. So I can always do that after applying the presets. I'm going to leave that unticked. Otherwise, calibration and everything like that, I'm going to leave as is ticked on. So once you're happy with that, you go ahead and click Create, and you can see over here in the left on your presets tab, you've got this user presets kind of menu, and you've got every preset that you make and save will now be stored in here. So Sunset City is right there. So if I go ahead and reset this photo, I can just mouse over Sunset City and it's gonna just show me what that's gonna look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that. Now, if I decided after applying the preset that it is too vibrant, I can bring that vibrance down, I can bring the saturation down a bit if I want to, I can adjust the white balance, I can adjust anything to make it exactly how I want. And if I don't like it, I can turn it off, pop the preset back on. So let's find a different photo that I can apply this to. As you can see, I took a lot of photos of St. Paul's. It was a particularly nice sunset. It's just the perfect timing, really. So let's find something else. Let's go for this photo, which is very similar, but it's obviously a portrait shot of St. Paul's itself. So let's go ahead and mouse over. So that shows you what it's going to look like. And look, it just immediately brings out that sky. It looks great. And I can mouse down here to transform, click auto. Lovely. 2 clicks, photo done. Next. So you can see how presets are really powerful and really, really handy. Now, if you have any questions about presets, you can pop it down in the comments below. If you're liking these Lightroom videos, let me know down in the comments as well. Let me know if there's something specific you'd like me to cover as well, because I'm really enjoying making these. They're really interesting, and there's a lot we can go over. So if there's anything you'd like me to cover in future videos, let me know down there. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. It helps out the channel a lot. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next video. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. I should actually go through and edit some more of these. Look at this. Sunset City. Oh, it's outrageous. It's nice. Look at these. Sunset City. Sunset City works on a lot of photos, it turns out. Interesting. I might make some more presets.